For this example, you have to match the graph with the equation. On first glance, this looks like it's too easy since you can probably put this in your calculator and then figure out which one matches. However, you can actually figure this one out without your calculator, and it's just about as easy as punching it in. Let's start with graph A. This here is going to be your x-axis. This here is going to be your y. The reason why I point that out is you're going to be looking for the x and y intercepts. So, for example, this one right here is -1. This one right here would be a +4. And it looks like here, this y-intercept is at +4. For graph B, here's your x-axis. This one is your y. And we have an x-intercept at -1. This one's at +4. And it looks like here your y-intercept is at +4. Now it's pointing down. That's also another important point. After that, you have graph C. Alright, and so these are your x and y axes respectively. This one right here is going to be an x-intercept of -4, and the other one's going to be a +1. Alright, and so your x or your y-intercept is going to be at around 8. And for graph D, there is your x-axis. Here is your y-axis. We have an x-intercept at about -4. We have an x-intercept at about 1. And we've got a y-intercept around -8. Okay, so let's start with equation 1. Well, we know it's positive because we have a positive a, so that eliminates graph B and C because they're pointing downwards. So now we have a choice of either A or D. Your x-intercept, okay, for this particular one, it's going to be 1 and -4. And your y-intercept, well, you're going to multiply that 2 times 1, which is 2, times a -4, which is going to be a -8. So now you have to do, let's take a look at graph A and graph D and see which one works. Well, we have x-intercepts of 1 and -4. That doesn't work for graph A, but it certainly works for graph D because we have here, this is 1 and this is -4, and our y-intercept is at -8. So D is our answer for equation 1. So for equation 2, we have y is equal to 1 plus x, and then we have 4 minus x. This one here is 1 plus x is easy to rearrange, but this one right here, you're going to have to divide it by -1. That's going to result in an equation that looks like this. Y is equal to x plus 1, and then because of that 4 minus x, that is going to be divided by -1, which means that you have x minus 4 with brackets, and the negative is in front of that. That means that it's going to be either graph B or graph C, because those are both facing down. Your x-intercepts in this case are going to be -1 and +4, and your y-intercept is going to be, well, you got -1 times +1, which is -1. -1 times -4 is going to be 4. Okay, so taking a look at that, of these ones here, the only one that seems to fit is graph B, because you do have a y-intercept of 4. You have an x-intercept of -1 and an x-intercept of 4. So that's going to be graph B. With equation 3, you've got x plus 1, x minus 4. Your x-intercepts are going to be -1 and a +4, and of course there's nothing here. It's going to be a +1, so it's going to be, well, graph A really, but we'll just confirm that. A is going to be 1. 1 times -1 is -1. -1 times 4 is -4. Okay, so in this case, -4 is your y-intercept, absolutely correct. You also have an x-intercept of -1 and an x-intercept of +4. So graph A corresponds to equation 3. And last but not least, you have equation 4, which will be C, because that's all we have left. Now, if you take a look at the x-intercepts, that's going to be a 1, and it's going to be a negative 4. And you got negative 2 times 1, which is negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 4, which is going to be 8. Okay, and working that one out, well, 8's correct, absolutely. And you've got 1 and negative 4, so graph C it is.